Imagine you're walking through a quiet field in Yates County, New York. The air is cold. There's nothing around but trees and tall grass. And then you see it. Plastic bags with a dead body. Someone didn't just want this person dead. They wanted them erased. That person was Sam Nordquist. And you have to wonder why. Was it because he was trans? Because of who he was, how he lived, who he loved? Or was it something even more personal? That's what we're here to figure out. Before we dive into this case, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you who have subscribed to the channel. Your support helps keep these stories alive and ensures that important cases like this one don't go unnoticed. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And if you find this video informative, give it a thumbs up. It really helps more people see this story. Now let's get into it. Before his name was in the news, before police were searching for answers, Sam was just a young 24-year-old with big dreams about the future. He was supposed to have years ahead of him. But life wasn't always easy for Sam. He was born in Minnesota in 1998. And from as early as he could remember, something felt off. Like he wasn't quite fitting into the role the world expected from him. While other kids were talking about crushes and weekend plans, Sam was stuck in his own head, wondering why everything about his body, his name, felt wrong. For many transgender individuals, the journey to self-discovery is filled with internal and external challenges. Gender dysphoria, the distress from a mismatch between one's assigned sex at birth and one's true gender identity, is a common experience. This distress can lead to anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of being out of place in one's own body. And let's be honest, being different in a town like that? Not easy. In places like this, people talk. They stare. They judge. And for a long time, Sam tried to blend in. He tried to be who everyone thought he was. But some things, you just can't force. Sam was assigned female at birth and given the name Samantha. Over time, he recognized that this name and the associated female pronouns didn't align with his true identity. Embracing the name Sam marked a pivotal moment in his journey towards self-acceptance, allowing him to live authentically as the man he knew himself to be. He changed his name. He started hormone therapy. He finally felt like himself. And yeah, it came at a cost. This pivotal step allowed him to align his outward appearance with his true identity, fostering a profound sense of self-acceptance and comfort. However, this transformation was not without its challenges. Sam faced societal prejudices, discrimination, and the emotional complexities that often accompany such a significant life change. Despite these obstacles, embracing his true self marked a monumental and affirming chapter in his life. Some people accepted him. Others didn't. Some friends stayed, some walked away. Family became complicated. And in a town where privacy doesn't exist, suddenly, Sam was a topic of conversation. The whispers followed him. The stares. The comments just loud enough for him to hear. But Sam? He kept going. He moved out, got a job as a graphic designer and started over. And for the first time he wasn't just surviving. He was happy. But the past has a way of creeping up on you. And for Sam, it was about to hit like a storm. Now here's where things start getting eerie. Sam had enemies. Not because he did anything wrong, but because some people couldn't stand the fact that he was living his truth while they were trapped in their own hate. He got threats online. Some from anonymous trolls. Some from people he actually knew. And while he mostly ignored them, here's the thing, how do you know which ones are just talk and which ones are something worse? Then there was his job. Sam was good at what he did. But not everyone at work treated him with respect. There was one coworker in particular who made things hard. The snide comments, the jokes, that weren't really jokes, the way they always seemed to be watching him. And then, there was his ex. A breakup that didn't end well. Heated messages. Threats. The last text his ex sent? You'll regret this. But was that just an angry outburst? Or was it something more? In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, Sam told a friend something strange. He felt like someone was following him. A car that kept showing up. A shadow standing across the street. Was it paranoia? Or was someone really out there, waiting? And then one night, all the whispers, all the threats, became real. Sam Nordquist had fought his whole life to be himself. But someone decided he didn't have that right. Someone took his life. The terrifying question is, who? And why? The answer? It's worse than you think. Alright, let's talk about what happened to Sam Nordquist. Because this case? It's disturbing. Not just because of what was done to him, but because of how long it took for anyone to realize something was seriously wrong. In September 2024, Sam was filled with excitement and anticipation. He had been planning a trip from Minnesota to New York to meet someone special, Precious Arzuaga, a woman he had connected with online. Their virtual conversations had blossomed into a meaningful relationship, and now they were eager to spend time together in person. Sam had arranged to stay in New York for 2 weeks, just the two of them, to deepen their bond and explore the possibilities of their connection. Precious, a 38-year-old resident of Geneva, New York, had a complex background. In 2016, she faced legal issues related to animal cruelty, where she was accused of starving her pit bull by confining it without food or water. Additionally, in 2024, she was charged with filing a false assistance application with the Department of Social Services. Despite these past incidents, her online interactions with Sam had been positive, leading him to believe in the potential of their relationship. Sam meticulously prepared for his journey. He coordinated his work schedule to accommodate the trip, ensuring he had ample time to spend with Precious. He communicated his plans with family and friends, sharing his excitement about meeting her in person. Sam's optimism was evident as he looked forward to this new chapter, hoping it would lead to a meaningful and lasting connection. With his bags packed and heart full of hope, Sam embarked on the journey from Minnesota to New York. The prospect of transforming an online relationship into a real-life connection filled him with joy and anticipation. He envisioned 2 weeks of companionship, shared experiences, and the possibility of building a future together with Precious. However, the reality that awaited Sam in New York was far from the hopeful reunion he had imagined. The subsequent events led to a tragic outcome, marking a heartbreaking end to his journey. 2 weeks passed, and then another, and another. And Sam? He never came home. By December, Sam's family was deeply concerned. Their calls went unanswered and messages received no replies. Recognizing these as alarming signs, they took immediate action. In December, Sam's mother, Linda, received an email from the Ontario County Department of Social Services. The message indicated that Sam had visited their office, expressing a desire to return home and discussing the need for an escape plan. However, he failed to attend a follow-up meeting, heightening his family's concerns. Determined to find Sam, his family filed a missing persons report with their local police department in Minnesota. This report prompted a national missing persons alert. Additionally, Sam's sister, Kayla, actively sought help by posting missing person flyers online and reaching out to various media outlets, hoping to gather any information about her brother's whereabouts. Despite these efforts, weeks passed with no news. The family's relentless pursuit for answers continued until February 13th, when authorities discovered human remains in a field in Yates County, New York. The following day, their worst fears were confirmed. The remains were identified as Sam's. The police went to check on him at the last place they knew he had been, the motel where he had stayed with Precious. But when they got there, Sam was gone. And what they did find was terrifying. Inside that room, officers found signs that Sam hadn't just left on his own. There were bloodstains, restraints, things that screamed, something horrible happened here. At this point, the cops knew this wasn't just a missing person case. This was something much worse. 4 days later, on February 13th, officers were searching a remote field in Yates County, about 50 miles from where Sam had last been seen. And that's where they found him. His body was wrapped in plastic bags, well hidden, as if someone wanted to erase him completely. And if you're feeling sick to your stomach right now, you're not alone. When the news broke, people were devastated. His hometown in Minnesota held vigils. People cried. People got angry. Because this wasn't just a murder, it was a brutal, drawn-out nightmare. And the worst part? It took months for anyone to even find him. And when the police finally gave details about what happened to Sam, it left people shaken. Even seasoned investigators were horrified. They'd seen some awful things in their careers, but this was next-level cruelty. So now the question is, who did this? And why? Let's talk about the suspects. By the time police found Sam's body, weeks had already passed since he disappeared. That meant fading evidence. But detectives weren't giving up. They had a crime scene, they had a victim, Now they just needed a killer. The first person police wanted to talk to? The person who had been with Sam before he disappeared? His supposed friend, Precious Arzuaga. Now let's be real. When someone vanishes, the last person to see them is almost always a suspect. And Precious? She had a lot to answer for. Detectives asked her straight up, "Where is Sam?" And her response? Inconsistent. First she said he left on his own. Then her story changed. Then changed again. At first there was no proof she had done anything. No smoking gun. No clear motive. But here's the thing, Sam didn't just leave. He didn't just walk away and never come back. Someone made sure he never would. When Sam's body was found, it had been in that field for weeks. But even after all that time, his body told a story. A horrifying one. Sam hadn't just been killed. He had been tortured and beaten. Kept alive long enough to suffer. Now here's where it gets really disturbing. When investigators searched the motel room where he had stayed with Precious, they found blood. Signs that someone had been held there, against their will, for days, maybe longer. And suddenly things started to click. This wasn't just a case of someone losing their temper. This was something planned. Then detectives checked Sam's phone. And what they found? It was horrifying. In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, Sam's communication with friends took a troubling turn. Initially, his messages were their usual, light-hearted and engaging. But gradually a shift occurred. The tone of his texts became uncharacteristically terse, lacking his familiar warmth. Phrases seemed out of place, and there was an unsettling formality that hadn't been there before. Close friends, attuned to Sam's typical mannerisms, sensed that something was amiss. The natural flow of their conversations was disrupted. Sam appeared distant, as if preoccupied or under duress. Attempts to reach him via phone calls were met with silence, further amplifying their concern. This abrupt cessation of contact was alarming. Friends and family, now gripped by anxiety, initiated efforts to locate Sam, reaching out through various channels in hopes of re-establishing communication. Their unease grew with each passing day of silence, prompting them to seek assistance from authorities and the broader community. Imagine receiving a message from a friend that feels off. The words are theirs, but something's not right. Would you recognize the subtle signs that something is terribly wrong? Sam had been sending messages to friends before he vanished. At first they were normal, casual. But then, they started getting weird. Now, if you know someone well, you know when something sounds off. And Sam's friends? They knew. The wording. The way he was suddenly distant. The way he stopped calling. It didn't feel right. And then the text stopped altogether. So now, police weren't just dealing with a missing person. They were dealing with a cover-up. But wait, there's more. Because Sam didn't just have one questionable person in his life. There was another. An ex, someone who had sent threats before. Someone who, when things ended, didn't take it well. Yeah, that kind of ex. The problem? No clear connection. No proof this ex had even been in New York. Just suspicion. And that's not enough for an arrest. Then detectives found something else. Security footage from a nearby gas station, showing Sam the night he disappeared. Alone. Looking over his shoulder. Nervous. And in the background? A car. Just sitting there. Waiting. But here's the frustrating part. The footage wasn't clear enough to see who was inside. So close, but not enough. Sam Nordquist fought his whole life to be himself. And in the end, someone took that from him. Someone made sure he wouldn't live another day. And right now, that person is still out there. But here's the real question. Did police already have the answer? Were the clues right in front of them, the whole time? Because what happens next changes everything. Following the discovery, 7 individuals were arrested and charged in connection with Sam's death. 1. Precious Arzuaga, 38. Precious was the woman Sam traveled to New York to meet after connecting online. They initially planned to spend 2 weeks together, but Sam ended up staying longer. According to reports, Precious was allegedly involved in the prolonged abuse and torture that Sam endured at Patty's Lodge in Hopewell, New York. She has been charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, and endangering the welfare of a child. 2. Jennifer A. Quijano, 30. Jennifer is among the 7 individuals charged in connection with Sam's death. Specific details about her exact role in the abuse have not been extensively detailed in public reports. However, she faces charges including first-degree murder and kidnapping. 3. Kyle Sage, 33. Kyle has been charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping. Prior to this incident, he had a criminal record that included convictions for grand larceny and distributing pornography to a minor. He completed his prison sentence in May 2024. 4. Patrick A. Goodwin, 30. Patrick is another individual charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping in Sam's case. He has a prior conviction from 2015 for child sexual abuse and was released from prison in 2023. 5. Emily Motika, 19. Emily is among the youngest of the accused and has been charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping. Specific details regarding her involvement have not been extensively detailed in public reports. 6. Kimberly L. Sokia, 29. Kimberly was among the later individuals charged in connection with Sam's death. She faces charges including first-degree murder and kidnapping. 7. Thomas G. Eves, 21. Thomas, who is Precious Arzuaga's son, has been charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping. Specific details about his involvement have not been extensively detailed in public reports. It's important to note that while all 7 individuals have been charged, the specific details of each person's involvement are still emerging as the investigation continues. The charges they face reflect the severity of the alleged crimes committed against Sam. The 7 suspects were indicted on 11 counts, including first-degree murder, which carries the possibility of life imprisonment without parole. Additional charges included first-degree kidnapping, second-degree conspiracy, and endangering the welfare of a child. Arzuaga faced 2 counts of first-degree coercion for allegedly forcing the 2 children to participate in the torture. Ontario County Assistant District Attorney Kelly Wolford emphasized the severity of the charges, stating that first-degree murder is New York's most significant charge, and that the case is bigger than a hate crime. She explained that labeling it merely as a hate crime would not encompass the full extent of the atrocities committed against Sam. In the tragic case of Sam Nordquist, the prosecution presented a detailed account of the events leading to his death. They described how Sam was confined, physically and sexually assaulted, deprived of proper nutrition and hydration, and subjected to humiliating and dehumanizing acts. The involvement of 2 children in the torture added another layer of horror to the case. The defense, represented by the Ontario County Conflict Defender's Office, declined to comment on the charges at the time of the indictment. As the case progresses, they are expected to challenge the prosecution's evidence and provide context or explanations for their client's alleged actions. According to the prosecution, Sam endured a relentless period of torment at Patty's Lodge in Hopewell, New York. The indictment reveals that from early December 2024 to February 2025, he was subjected to physical abuse. Sam was beaten with various objects including sticks, dog toys, ropes, and belts. These assaults left him with severe injuries and immense pain. A sexual assault. The assailants reportedly used a table leg and a broomstick to sexually assault Sam, further amplifying his suffering. A deprivation. He was starved, denied water, and forced to consume feces and urine, leading to severe malnutrition and dehydration. Chemical torture. Bleach was poured onto his body, causing chemical burns and adding to his physical agony. One of the most distressing aspects of this case is the involvement of 2 children, aged 7 and 12, who were coerced into participating in the torture. Ontario County Assistant District Attorney Kelly Wolford expressed deep concern over this, stating, "To have 2 children have to participate in the beating of another human being, it's deeply disturbing." The prosecution emphasized that Sam was treated like a dog during his captivity, highlighting the dehumanizing nature of the acts committed against him. At the time of the indictment, the Ontario County Conflict Defender's Office, representing the accused, declined to comment on the charges. As the case progresses, the defense is anticipated to challenge evidence, scrutinize the prosecution's evidence for inconsistencies or procedural errors, provide context, offer explanations or mitigating factors concerning their client's alleged actions, question witness credibility, assess the reliability of testimonies presented by the prosecution. Given the gravity of the charges, which include first-degree murder, kidnapping, and child endangerment, the defense faces a formidable task in countering the prosecution's narrative. The horrifying details of Sam's death have sent shockwaves through both local and national communities. Public outcry, vigils and protests have been organized, demanding justice for Sam and highlighting the broader issues of violence against transgender individuals. A legal precedence. This case underscores the need for robust legal protections for marginalized communities and may influence future legislation concerning hate crimes and protections for LGBTQ+ individuals. Is support for affected children. The involvement of minors in such heinous acts has raised concerns about their psychological well-being, prompting discussions about appropriate interventions and support systems. The tragic death of 24-year-old Sam Nordquist, a Black transgender man, has deeply affected both local communities and the nation. The brutality of his murder has sparked widespread grief, anger, and calls for justice, highlighting the ongoing dangers faced by transgender individuals, particularly Black transgender men. In the wake of Sam's death, communities across the country organized vigils to honor his memory and raise awareness about the violence against transgender individuals. One such vigil took place in Red Wing, Minnesota, where Sam had attended high school. Another was held at Wood Library in Canandaigua, New York, reflecting the widespread impact of his tragic death. Advocacy groups expressed profound grief and outrage. Rochester LGBTQ+ Together stated they were angered and disgusted upon learning about Sam's killing. The New Pride Agenda, a New York-based LGBTQ+ rights organization, emphasized that this incident is not an isolated incident. It is a tragic consequence of the rising culture of hate in our society. Sam's family has been vocal about their profound loss and the circumstances surrounding his death. His mother, Linda Nordquist, described him as someone who would give you the shirt off his back, highlighting his kindness and love for his family. She expressed deep anguish over the manner of his death and questioned how such atrocities could occur without intervention. Linda criticized law enforcement, claiming they failed to respond adequately to earlier wellness checks she requested. Sam's death underscores the heightened risks faced by Black transgender individuals. According to the National Transgender Discrimination Survey, Black transgender people face higher rates of discrimination, poverty, and violence compared to their white counterparts. Approximately 34% of Black transgender individuals live in extreme poverty, and 49% have reported harassment during their K-12 education. This tragic incident echoes past hate crimes, drawing parallels to the 1998 murder of Matthew Shepard, which became a catalyst for the LGBTQ+ rights movement. While prosecutors have not classified Sam's murder as a hate crime, many believe his gender and race played a role, highlighting the intersectionality of discrimination. The severity of the crime has led to demands for justice from various quarters. GLAAD, a leading LGBTQ+ advocacy organization, has urged New York prosecutors to pursue hate crime charges, stating that anti-LGBTQ hate can be perpetuated by anyone, regardless of their relationship to the victim or their own gender identity or sexual orientation. As the investigation continues, there is a collective call for stronger protections and support systems for transgender individuals, particularly those of color, to prevent such tragedies in the future. The outpouring of grief and solidarity following Sam's death serves as a poignant reminder of the challenges faced by the transgender community and the urgent need for societal change to ensure their safety and acceptance. As the legal proceedings continue, more details about the events leading up to Sam's death are expected to emerge. The community remains vigilant, seeking justice for Sam and advocating for measures to prevent such tragedies in the future. Sam's story is a stark reminder of the violence and discrimination faced by transgender individuals. It underscores the urgent need for societal change to ensure safety, acceptance, and justice for all. His story has touched many hearts and sparked intense discussions across the country. Let's delve into the public reactions, the psychological aspects of such crimes, and how this case compares to other incidents. As we reflect on this tragedy, it's essential to consider our role in fostering a more inclusive and safe environment. How do you feel about the current state of safety for transgender individuals in our communities? What steps can we, as a society, take to prevent such heinous acts in the future? I encourage you to share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Engaging in open dialogue is a crucial step toward understanding and change. Sam's tragic death echoes past incidents that have served as catalysts for change. One such case is the 1998 murder of Matthew Shepard, a gay college student in Wyoming. Matthew was brutally beaten and left to die, solely because of his sexual orientation. His death sparked national outrage and became a pivotal moment in the LGBTQ+ rights movement. The public outcry following Matthew's murder led to significant legal reforms, notably the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act of 2009. This federal law expanded the definition of hate crimes to include those motivated by sexual orientation and gender identity, providing greater protection for LGBTQ+ individuals. However, despite these advancements, violence against transgender individuals, particularly those of color, persists. Sam's case is a stark reminder that while progress has been made, there is still much work to be done to ensure the safety and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their gender identity or race. The legal landscape concerning hate crimes has evolved over the years, influenced by tragic events like Matthew Shepard's murder. The aforementioned Hate Crimes Prevention Act marked a significant shift, allowing federal authorities to intervene in cases where local law enforcement might be unwilling or unable to prosecute bias-motivated crimes effectively. This legislation also underscored the importance of collecting data on hate crimes, leading to more comprehensive reporting and a better understanding of the prevalence of such incidents. Furthermore, it highlighted the necessity for law enforcement training to handle these sensitive cases appropriately, ensuring that victims receive the support and justice they deserve. While legal frameworks provide a foundation for protection, societal attitudes play an important role in shaping the lived experiences of transgender individuals. Education and awareness are vital tools in combating ignorance and prejudice. By incorporating LGBTQ+ topics into educational curricula and promoting positive representations in media, we can challenge harmful stereotypes and foster empathy. Community support systems also play an essential role. Establishing safe spaces where transgender individuals can seek support, share experiences, and build resilience is crucial. Moreover, allies must actively stand against discrimination and violence, using their voices to amplify marginalized perspectives and advocate for change. I invite you to reflect on the following questions. How can we, as individuals, contribute to creating safer environments for transgender people? What role should educational institutions play in promoting understanding and acceptance of gender diversity? How can media representations influence societal attitudes toward the transgender community? Please share your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. Engaging in this dialogue is a step toward fostering a more inclusive and compassionate society. Sam Nordquist's life was tragically cut short, but his story has ignited a renewed commitment to justice and equality. By acknowledging the pain, understanding the underlying issues, and actively working toward change, we honor his memory and strive to create a world where such tragedies are no longer a reality. Let us remember that behind the statistics and headlines are real people with dreams, families, and futures. Together, we can challenge hate and build a society that celebrates diversity in all its forms. The tragic story of Sam Nordquist is one that leaves us with more questions than answers. How could something so horrific happen without anyone stopping it? How did Sam, a young man full of dreams and hope, end up trapped in a nightmare that no one should ever experience? His case is not just about one person, it's about the dangers faced by transgender individuals, especially Black trans men, in a world that often turns a blind eye to their struggles. It's about a justice system that sometimes fails those who need protection the most. It's about the warning signs, missed calls, strange messages, desperate cries for help, that went unanswered. Sam should have been safe. He should have been able to trust the people around him. Instead, he suffered unimaginable cruelty at the hands of those he once considered friends. Now, as we follow this case, waiting for the full truth to emerge, we ask you, share your thoughts in the comments below. And remember this, Sam's story is not just a headline. It's a harsh reality for many transgender people. The fight for justice isn't just about holding the guilty accountable, it's about making sure this never happens again. Before we go, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you who has subscribed to this channel. Your support means everything, and it allows us to continue bringing you these important stories. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And if you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people. Let's keep this conversation going. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think really happened to Sam Nordquist? Let's talk about it.